Good morning, students. I am Priyanka Trivedi and will continue with the part 3 of your chapter number 8, standard 9, that is framing of constitution. In part 1 and 2, we saw what is constitution, what is preamble and various features of constitution. So we had done up to point number 8, and now we'll continue with the point number 9, that is universal adult suffrage. Now what is universal adult suffrage? Adult का मतलब तो सबको पता है, बड़ा, fine. Now in India we have a system of adult suffrage which is flexible. According to that, any citizen who is above 18 years of age and above possesses the right to vote in the election of parliament, legislative assemblies or local self-government bodies without any discrimination of education, property and economic standard. Yes, if you are a citizen of India, if you are above 18 years of age and if you are of sound mind, मतलब अगर आप पागल नहीं हो तो any person who is insane or mad will not be allowed to give vote because he don't have his own thinking whether he is doing right or wrong. So ऐसे इंसानों को वोट देना अलाउड होता है नहीं. But rest, if you are a citizen of India and above 18 years of age, you are allowed to vote whether you are rich or poor, whether you belong to any religion, whether you belong to any state. सबको वोट करने की राइट होती है. That is called universal adult suffrage. Now, elections of parliament. What are elections of parliament? Central election, जिसको हम लोकसभा के इलेक्शन कहते हैं, जहाँ पे after the election we prime minister is elected, we get a prime minister. That is called elections of parliament. Then comes legislative assemblies election, मतलब विधान सभा election, the elections of the state in which a particular party is who becomes a winner and we get a chief minister. Then local self government bodies, मतलब म्यूनसिपल कॉरपोरेशन, म्यूनसिपल पार्टी, ग्राम पंचायत, ये सब जो इलेक्शंस होते हैं दैट आर कॉल्ड लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज. सो इन एवरी इलेक्शन पीपल गेट राइट टू वोट विदाउट एनी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन, कास्ट, क्रीड, रिच, पुअर, anything. So all are equal in India, all are treated equal. No particular religion get privileges or no one gets disprivilege. Yes, now. So this is universal adult suffrage. We'll see what it is in the video.
Equal right to vote. Universal adult franchise, an important factor for all democracies. They may be poor or rich, educated or uneducated, a Hindu, Muslim or a Christian, all adults have a right to vote in India. This is called universal adult franchise. The idea of universal adult franchise is based on equality. In India, equal right to vote does not make all the citizens equal in all respects. Inequality between the rich and the poor, inequality between people of different castes and religion, and inequality between people of different social backgrounds still exist in India.
Yes, now in the video you saw that. Yes, so next comes secularism. What is secularism? Secularism means a country has right to follow a religion of its every citizen of a country has a right to follow the religion of its own choice. Country किसी को force नहीं करेगी that you have to follow a particular religion. In a country all religions are treated equally, that is called secularism. So we have discussed earlier about secularism in the preamble. In the constitution, India has been declared as a secular state. People of different religion reside in India. Yes, people of all religion reside in India. Hinduism, the most population Hindus की है. Then Islam, then Christianity, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi, Jews. All these people religion, following this religion people lives in India. Therefore the state cannot discriminate any citizen on the basis of religion. State किसी को religion के basis पे discriminate कर सकती है नहीं. That particular religion will get this right and particular religion will not. It is not so. No citizen can be given special right or cannot be deprived with certain rights. किसी रिलीजन को स्पेशल राइट्स मिलती है और किसी को कोई राइट्स ना मिले, ऐसा होता है नहीं. इफ़ एट ऑल अ रूल इज़ देयर इट इज़ टू बी फॉलोड फॉर एवरी रिलीजन, और अगर नहीं है तो किसी को भी नहीं होता है. आई विल गिव यू वन एग्जाम्पल. सी, हम लोग गणपति, नाउ इट विल कम दैट गणपति स्थापना होती है एंड देन विसर्जन होते हैं. ड्यूरिंग विसर्जन मैनी ऑफ द पीपल टेक प्रोसेशन निकालते हैं जहाँ पे बैंड बाजा बजता है, एवरीथिंग. सो इज़ इट सो दैट हिंदू लोगों को ये करना अलाउड है और अगर किसी दूसरे रिलीजन को उनके रिलीजन के हिसाब से कुछ करना हो तो अलाउड नहीं है? नो, इट इज़ नॉट सो. इवन ड्यूरिंग आई थिंक रमज़ान ताजिए निकलते हैं, एट दैट टाइम दे आर अलाउड. दैन जैन लोगों के कई बार यात्रा होती है तो उनको भी अलाउ करते हैं. अगर किसी को स्टॉप करेंगे तो वो सबको स्टॉप करेंगे. एंड इफ दे एट ऑल दे आर अलाउिंग दे विल अलाउ एवरीवन. सो एवरी रिलीजन इज ट्रीटेड इक्वली इन इंडिया. The state has to be absolutely impartial and neutral in respect of religion. Only a secular state can offer proper and equal treatment towards all the citizens. Secularism means that a state does not interfere in the matters of religion. Yes, the state does not interfere in the matter of religion. उनके जो रीत रिवाज है उस पर स्टेट इंटरफियर कर सकता है नहीं. They are allowed to follow the rules and regulations of a particular religion. A state cannot say no to a particular thing. If at all in Hindu we have a system of doing arti, a state cannot stop the temples from doing this. No, they cannot. So they will not interfere in the matter of religion or is biased to any specific religion. The state has to be secure and indifferent. Followers of different religion are free to follow and practice their religion of choice. Yes, everyone is free to follow the religion of their choice. There are many countries in the world which do not allow its citizens to convert the religion. इंडिया में ऐसा है नहीं. आई टोल्ड यू नंबर ऑफ एग्जाम्पल आई गिवन यू. मैंने कई एग्जाम्पल दिया था ए आर रहमान का. सो हमारे कंट्री में ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर किसी इंसान को अपना रिलीजन चेंज करना हो तो बाय हिज ओन चॉइस ही कैन डू इट. बट देर आर सम कंट्रीज विच डू नॉट अलाउ इट्स सिटीजन टू चेंज द रिलीजन. वन कंट्री इज माली. माली नाम की एक कंट्री है विच इज़ इन अफ्रीका कॉन्टिनेंट ऑन द नॉर्दर्न साइड ऑफ अफ्रीका कॉन्टिनेंट. It is an Islamic country. There are very strict rules to follow over there, and no citizen is allowed to change the religion over there, if at all he is born in particular religion. So in our country it is not so. Now we'll see what is secularism in this video.
Were two Mughal emperors who ruled over a very large part of Indian subcontinent. Both were able administrators and effective rulers. Yet, history does not look at both of them in the same light. Akbar is called Akbar the Great, but this title is never given to Aurangzeb. Even though it was during the reign of Aurangzeb that the Mughal Empire reached its greatest extent. Do you recall from your history lessons a key aspect which separates these two Mughal emperors? Yes, during the reign of Akbar, people were allowed to practice their own religion and the administration did not favor any particular religion against the other. Whereas during the reign of Aurangzeb, there was no religious tolerance. Aurangzeb had a fanatic view of Islam. His army razed many Hindu temples and Hindus were forced to convert to Islam. Those who did not agree for conversion were killed. Hence, Aurangzeb has gone down in history not as a great ruler but as an intolerant oppressor. Let us come to present-day world. Let us take a tour of a city in India. What do you observe? There are different places of worship in the city for different religions. Now, look at the Indian official holiday list for the year. What do you observe? We have holidays in India for Diwali, which is an important festival for Hindus. Eid, which is an important festival for Muslims. Christmas, which is celebrated by Christians. And Guru Nanak Jayanti, which is an important Sikh festival.
Yes. So a very nice example was given over here of the holidays. यू ऑल पीपल स्टडी इन स्कूल एंड आपको सबको पता है कब कब छुट्टियाँ मिलती है. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ दिवाली पे छुट्टी मिलती है. नो, वी हैव हॉलीडेज ऑन द फेस्टिवल ऑफ दिवाली ऑल्सो, ड्यूरिंग ईद ऑल्सो एंड ड्यूरिंग क्रिसमस ऑल्सो. सभी रिलीजन के जो भी बड़ा फेस्टिवल आता है तब छुट्टियाँ मिलती है टू ऑल द स्टूडेंट, नॉट टू अ पर्टिकुलर स्टूडेंट. So it shows that our country is a secular country and it treats every of its citizen, every of the religion of the country equally. So next comes judicial review. Yes, now next thing is judicial review. Judicial review is a chief characteristic of the Constitution. Judicial review administers the working of union and state without jurisdiction. Without disrespecting the power of Parliament, the Constitution has made an effort to harmonize the principle of judicial review. Parliamentary amendment, external order, ordinance and judicial judgment are given for judicial review. Now review तो आपको सबको पता है what does mean by word review. Review, एक बार व्यू किया उसको वापस व्यू करो. क्रिकेट में भी होता है रिव्यू लेना, whether the person is out or not out. अगर सच में आउट हो then the third umpire will say that yes it is out, or if at all it is not, it will say no. So what is meant by judicial review? Once देखो in our country parliament is supreme, fine. मतलब पार्लियामेंट अगर दिन को रात कहे या रात को दिन कहे then it is not okay. अगर उन लोगों ने कोई डिसीजन लिया है they will always take any decision for the benefit of the people only. But if at all a decision is taken by a parliament and if at all it is hurting the sentiments of number of people, then it is to be revoked. मतलब उसको ख़त्म कर देना पड़ता है. But who will do that? So any decision taken by the parliament is reviewed. That is called judicial review. So without disrespecting the power of parliament, the Constitution has made an effort to harmonize the principle of judicial review. Parliamentary amendments मतलब पार्लियामेंट में जो चेंजेस आते हैं वो एक्सटर्नल ऑर्डर, ऑर्डिनेंस और जुडिशियल जजमेंट आर गिवन फॉर जुडिशियल रिव्यू. इन सभी चीज़ों को वापस कहाँ पे दिया जाता है? जुडिशियल रिव्यू के लिए दिया जाता है. इफ़ द कोर्ट फाइंड्स एनी इनडिसिप्लिनेंसी इन द एक्सटर्नल ऑर्डर, ऑर्डिनेंस और जुडिशियल जजमेंट, इन कैन बी स्टॉप्ड बाय डिक्लेयरिंग दैम अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल. अगर कोर्ट को कोई भी डिसीजन गलत लगे तो वो उस लॉ को या उस डिसीजन को स्टॉप कर सकती है. That is called judicial review. It has right to stop any indisciplinary action taken by the parliament. So that is called judicial review. We'll see over here.
Hi everyone, I am Amy. Today, we will be discussing the meaning and concept of judicial review. The concept of judicial review is taken from US Constitution, which refers the power of judiciary to interpret the law and to declare law which is inconsistent with Constitution void.
Likewise, technically, judicial review is judicial process under which any legislation legislated by either executive or legislature are the subjects to review by the judiciary. It is the power of the Supreme Court of India conferred by the Constitution of India under Article 137. Through judicial review, the Supreme Court of India has the power to review the legislative action and if finds it inconsistent or contradictory, then it can invalidate such laws. Through judicial review, an executive decision may be invalidated for being unlawful or a statute may be invalidated for violating the terms of a constitution.
Moreover, judicial review is one of the tools to supervise the legislative and executive branches when the latter exceed their authority. Likewise, it ensures check and balance in the separation of powers. However, if any one of you still have any confusion regarding the concept of doctrine of judicial review, you may ask through the...
Hello.
We have seen what is judicial review. Any law, if at all it is invalid, अगर कुछ गलत है, then it can be stopped by Supreme Court under the Article 137. Next comes fundamental rights and duties. A very known topic for all of us. बहुत बचपन से हम ये चीज़ पढ़ते आते हैं, fundamental rights and duties. हक अने फरज. So, fundamental rights are conferred to the people of India by the Constitution to give a dignified life. Yes, डिग्निफाइड मतलब सम्मानजनक लाइफ जीने के लिए ये राइट्स हमें दी जाती है. द मोस्ट वैल्यूएबल कैपिटल ऑफ आवर कंट्री इज इन ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ नेशन which further lies in the fundamental duties and rights. Right to constitutional remedies and for the children 6 to 14 years of age, right to educate are also made available. Yes. Fundamental rights में right to constitutional remedies and right to education is also available. So what are fundamental rights? The rights we have: the right to speak, the right to think, the right to believe in one's own religion, right to study. These are called the fundamental rights. We'll see over here.
Our rights and duties.
Every country has a set of rules according to which the government governs the country. This set of rules is called Constitution. Our country also has a Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the architect of the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the longest written constitution in the world. It came into effect on 26 January 1950 and India became a republic. Since then, this day is celebrated as a Republic Day.
How does the Constitution help us?
Our Constitution gives every citizen some basic rights. These are called fundamental rights. These rights are for the well-being of the citizens.
What are our rights, sir? All citizens, irrespective of their religion, caste, race, sex, and place of birth, are treated as equals.
Very good, Meena. Who can tell me the next one?
The right to freedom allows all citizens to speak freely, choose any occupation, and reside and travel anywhere within the country. It also provides for free and compulsory education of all children between 6 and 14 years of age.
Very good, Rahul.
The right against exploitation ensures that poor people are not made to work without pay. This right also does not allow children below 14 years of age to be employed.
The right to freedom of religion means that all people are free to follow any religion.
Cultural and educational rights protect the minorities. It also allows them to develop and preserve their culture. The right to constitutional remedies allows every citizen to move court if any of their rights are denied.
Very good, class. We now know that all of us have some rights, but with rights come duties. Let us see what our duties are. We must abide by the Constitution. We must show respect to the national flag and the national anthem. We must take care of the environment. We must take care of public property. We must preserve our cultural heritage. Parents or guardians must send their children to school. Our Constitution gives us some rights and expects us to perform certain duties. We should abide.
Yes, next comes the directive principles of state policy. Point number 13. Protection of people, security and welfare should be carried out by the state. These principles provide direction for the state governance and policy making, so they are called directive principles. See now, directive principle मतलब guidelines. हमें भी काफ़ी सारी गाइडलाइंस मिलती है. बिफोर वी गो टू पिकनिक, अगर हम पिकनिक में जाते हैं तो पेरेंट्स हमें काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें बताते हैं. डू नॉट डू दिस, डू नॉट डू दैट, यहाँ पे मत जाना, वहाँ पे मत जाना, ऐसा नहीं करना, वैसा नहीं करना. सो दे आर गिविंग अस द गाइडलाइंस. बट आखिरकार जब हम जाते हैं, डिपेंड्स ऑन अस वेदर वी आर फॉलोइंग दैट और नॉट. पेरेंट्स कैन नॉट बाउंड अस टू फॉलो दैट. फाइन. In the same way, directive principles are the guidelines given for the governance of the state. उनको ये गाइडलाइंस दी जाती है कि आपको स्टेट के लिए ऐसी पॉलिसी मेकिंग होनी चाहिए, ऐसे आपको गवर्नेंस करना चाहिए. बट अ स्टेट इज़ नॉट बाउंड टू फॉलो डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी. See, in the previous video you saw the various rights that and all these things you will study in detail in the next chapter. So these are called directive principles of state policy. We will see what it is given over here.
Let's first look at directive principles regarding governmental policies. The directive principles make it clear that the function of the government is not limited only to the maintenance of law and order. The government should also take the responsibility of people's welfare. It should create social conditions that enables citizens to live with dignity. It should formulate policies to raise people's standard of living. People should be supplied with nutritious food. Public health should be improved. Such are the lines along which these principles guide the governmental policies. The directive principles expect that India should help create world peace and should form its foreign policy accordingly. The directive principles in this category also cover objectives like free and compulsory primary education, prohibition of liquor, development of cottage industries, protection of historical monuments, etc.
Yes, so we have seen the directive principles of state policy and it gives guidelines कि ऐसी डेवलपमेंट होनी चाहिए और ये सब चीज़ें फॉलो करनी चाहिए. Next and the last comes provision for backward section and tribe. To uplift and include backward sections and tribes and deprived class in the mainstream, there are specific provision in the constitution. Reserved seats are allocated in legislature and local self-governing bodies election to provide representation. You all know what is reservation. Everywhere there is reservation in India, right from job, even in parliament and everywhere. So why that is given? It is given to the backward class and tribes because before many years ये people पढ़े लिखे हुए थे नहीं. इन लोगों के पास ना एजुकेशन था, इसकी वजह से वो लोग अच्छे से काम नहीं कर पाते थे. So in order to educate these people, in order to bring these people to mainstream society, such reservations was given. Reservation quota has been provided for the admission in education institute and government job in proportion to the population to provide equal opportunity. You all know अगर medical का student है उसमें the number of people get seat in medical because of the reservation quota. So even in the government jobs there is reservation for the government jobs also. Children of backward section and tribes are given scholarship, basic amenities and paid fees which come under the optimistic policies and shielding policies as per the provision in the constitution. Yes, number of things are provided to this section to bring them to school, to give them scholarship. अगर आप any child, not आप sorry, any child who is coming from a backward section or backward society, so he will be given scholarship. He will be provided with the basic things and even the fees will be paid by the government. So these are the provisions for the backward section and tribe so that they can live the life peacefully and they can live the life, they can educate themselves and live the life normally. So now all the features of the constitution are over here. This chapter is finished over here. Number of questions have been given you in homework. If at all want to escape, you can do it by your own self. If you are not getting it, you can ask me. All the answers are most probably 95% answers are there in textbook. वैसे तो सब होते पर twisted होते. You won't understand the question. But try to write the answers from textbook. Okay, so this chapter is over here. Thank you.